Anthony with the pump fake and one dribble inside to the long two, and he makes it. That's been his game his whole career. But look at him smiling. We go, my bad. The long two.
Welcome to another episode of The Long Two. I am Pete Rogers. He is Natty Wallach, and we are a Carmelo Anthony stand podcast and occasionally talk fantasy basketball. But Natty, we did it. Carmelo Anthony is back in the NBA and is playing basketball as we speak.
I'm so glad that we injured all those Trailblazers and forced them to make such a desperate move.
This is easily
that was a really good plan.
The greatest moment in podcast history. There is nothing that will overcome this. After basically spending all of the entirety of this podcast's creation, all NBA offseason, the whole 9 yards, talking and being like, hyping up Carmelo Anthony. I mean, he is the namesake for this show. Let's be honest here.
He's in the intro, man.
And now he's here
starting.
playing. He's starting.
Ugh.
Oh my God.
Because of injury. Like, Dame Lillard never takes off games, so this sucks. He's obviously hurting if he's not starting, especially since Portland is in such dire straits.
Yeah.
But this is what it takes to get Carmelo Anthony back into basketball, apparently. And it's sort of funny that it's the synchronicity between him and Kaepernick. Like, Kaepernick just worked out for teams. And if someone gets desperate enough, I guess that maybe they'll hire him. It's great to have him back in basketball. Both those guys should be playing and should have been playing this whole time. I really hope he does well. And Melo looks so fucking sick in the Blazers
in the double zero.
Oh my God, dude. Yeah. So
Melo
that quote
spelled double zero.
He gave an interview to the Syracuse News, I guess. And so Carmelo Anthony is wearing double zeros as his jersey now, which he's never done before. And the Syracuse.com story said in an Instagram post, Anthony explained that he chose double zeros because it resembles the sign for infinity, quote, a number greater than any assignable quantity or countable number, end quote.
This guy's
Carmelo,
a fucking genius. He's working at a mind level that we can't comprehend.
Like, countable number is just so fucking awesome. It's like that, the idea that there are uncountable numbers is
my
great.
God, it's fucking incredible.
In the story, Carmelo also referenced God, quote, Alpha and Omega, end quote, and the chance to have a new and great beginning with a pass left behind where it belongs. And I fucking second that. Carmelo Anthony is a good basketball player.
Yes.
Like, not on defense, but there's a ton of players who are not good on defense. Carmelo Anthony has never shot below 40% from the floor for a season. He's a career 44 field goal percentage, 34 3-point percentage. Right now, on Portland, Kent Bazemore, who's fifth in field goal attempts on the team over the last 2 weeks, is shooting 36% from the floor. Mario Hezonja, who Melo is basically replacing, is shooting 33% from the floor. And Nas Little, who, is obviously young, over the last 2 weeks, he's been shooting 33% from the floor. They need Carmelo Anthony's offense more than they give a shit about defense.
Oh, definitely. And obviously, we love Melo. So should everyone in the NBA. I, in fact, dropped Aaron Baines so I could add Melo in my league, and then it instantly changed my team name to Hoodie Melo with all the zeros I could possibly fit into the title.
Good for you, humble brag.
Thank you. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to give some realistic expectations for him this year, other than obviously setting an NBA the double record and leading the league in scoring.
Yeah, most improved player. Are you kidding?
Right. I think he
hasn't played in a calendar year.
These are all givens for him. But I think this is a great place to start in looking at who else on the Trailblazers are there. Like, who is he replacing? And if you look at it, I don't think it's crazy to think that he's going to walk into, and of course we're watching the game right now and we'll get a better sense of what maybe his role can be. I mean, it's one game, but we'll see how it plays out. But I wouldn't be surprised if he walks into 15 to 20 shots a game. I mean, McCollum leads the team with 20 field goals attempt per game. Dame is 19.9, and Hassan Whiteside is next with 10.5. Like, what's to stop Melo just basically working right between Hassan and Dame? And as a, like you said, he in his 30s. So the last, what is he, 36 now? The last 6 years, I think. He 43% shooter, 35% from three. Like, if he's shooting 15 to 17 field goals a game and he's shooting 43%, like, he's got true value.
He is absolutely who they need. I mean, it would
we've
be
talked
nice
about
if
this
his
all the
defense
time.
was better,
Well,
obviously.
everyone's been like, oh, Kevin Love would make a ton of sense to the Trailblazers. And Kevin Love, I think, I don't want to slander Carmelo, but maybe a step up a little bit, slightly. But Melo, like, fits in perfectly to exactly what this team needs, which is a stretch four, somewhat an offensive four.
Dude, they just need someone who can shoot the basketball. Like, it doesn't matter if you're fucking 5'2". These guys, I can't fucking believe how many people on this team are shooting under 40% from the floor. It's really upsetting. CJ McCollum and Dame Lillard and Hassan Whiteside have been the team.
Right.
Like, Rodney Hood is there, and he's been, totally fine. He's shooting 50% from the floor, actually. But Kent Bazemore, Hazonia, like the dudes that have had to step up and play a position above their regular one because Portland's front court is so gross, they just haven't been doing well. And Melo's contract is non-guaranteed, so, like, if he's not doing better than Mario Hazonia, then they'll just get rid of him. But odds are that he will be.
Or at the very least, he's going to bring some sort of, like, lead. Like, I think he's just, you're right. He's going to be better. I was going to be like, he's going to bring a leadership mentality to this team, which sure he might, but I also think that, yes, he is just a better player than Hazonia.
Well, nobody in the NBA wants to win harder than Carmelo Anthony does right now. So, Portland is ravaged by injuries, like, there's opportunity here. I think that if Dame, like, hopefully he's just totally fine and just needed a day off. If Dame and McCollum are cooking, like, I think that Melo will defer, because it's like, this is not your team right now. You just got here. Like, even if you turned out to be the third or fourth best player on the team, like, you can't just come in and demand the ball, I don't think. So I think Carmelo is just going to try to fit in. I expect 10 points per game is his floor, and that will rise over the course of the season. Like, over the next week, I kind of feel like he'll have a 20-point game. But having said that, he hasn't played for a while. Rust would be totally natural. That three he sank right at the beginning of the game,
Gorgeous.
I really I like almost didn't see it for a second, and then there was a swish. Like, I sort of thought that he had missed it real bad, and then it just, like, swished through. I was like, whoa, shit.
What? Did the net just move independently of the ball, or
But
did it
his
actually
first
go
shot
in?
of the game was a really terribly placed, it wasn't even a long two, it was just a mid-range shot, and it's like, you didn't need to do that. But Portland, actually both these teams, the Pelicans, are ravaged by injuries too. Like, everybody's been hurt except for Drew Holiday.
Yeah.
And he missed 2 games. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, I turned the game off to do this, but Melo, it would be so weird if he didn't fit, Like,
Oh, yeah.
the expectations are so low to be better than what Portland has had so far. And Melo's really smart. He knows where to be and what to do. Like,
well, and I think people love to look at the Rockets and his falling out there, and that is the last taste that we have of Melo in the NBA.
The bus that ran over him, driven by Daryl Morey. Yeah,
exactly. That one and the same. But if you look at his Thunder season, right, played a full season for the Thunder, 16, 5.8 an assist and 1.2 stocks. That is a very productive stat line, and you're joining a team that's second in field goal attempts and 8th in 3-point attempts right now at the Blazers. Like, this team is just jacking up shots, and Carmelo is the king of jacking up shots. How is this going to be a bad marriage?
The I mean, the only reason I can see for them not keeping him around or playing him is that he just absolutely positively sucks on offense. And from the first quarter, it didn't really seem that way.
Yep. No.
So I think there's something to be said for older, smarter players. Like these guys, like Melo's been staying in shape, he's been like ready to play. And guys that know what to do and where to go and where their hot spots are on the court, like where they know they can get points.
Mhm.
Or I mean, his post game isn't terrible either. Like he can shoot from all over. He's one of the best offensive players of his generation, and it would be really weird if he sucked ass. So I think he's going to be on the team for the rest of the year, and I think he's going to do well. I'm hoping for 15 points a game. I don't really know. Like if Whiteside starts losing shots, then he's just going to be a real big pain in the ass, and I don't really think you can afford that right now. So I do think that Carmelo will defer to the other three guys on the team, but like there's nobody else.
Right.
So
And I guess, yeah, I don't even think that he's really going to eat into anyone's production. I mean, he's just going to eat into like the scrubs on this team, like, and that's fine.
and some of the scrubs are just young players, like Anthony
Right.
Simons and fucking who's the other young dude? Whatever. Oh, Nas Little. Sorry.
Mm.
Like you'd rather have these guys are the Portland Trail Blazers were saying, Western Conference Finals or bust before the season started. That's what they expected to do. They're out of the playoffs right now. They don't look good. They're ravaged by injuries. Melo is a guy that is not going to fuck up your system. Like you can just plug him in. He knows what he's doing. He knows what the plays are. And as long as his conditioning is good and he can play 25 or over minutes per game, he'll get the volume.
Yeah.
So like, of
Yeah.
course you're going to pass it to Carmelo Anthony.
And he's only 22% owned in ESPN leagues. And so, like, I just think that I think that he's a shoo-in for legit fantasy production at the very least these next couple of weeks. Like I would not be surprised if obviously there are bumps in the road, if minutes kind of get readjusted, if he, whatever, 2-3 months into the season, he starts getting tired. He is, mid to late 30s. But right now, coming into this league, coming into this season, presumably in basketball shape and like super fucking stoked to be on a team, I don't see how he can't start off like with a pretty good level of production for you, particularly since the Trailblazers, I feel like, don't have that bad of a remaining schedule this week and probably moving forward.
And everybody in the whole world, including your competitors, is
rooting
rooting for
him.
you.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody wants to see Melo do well.
Yeah.
Like
how could you not?
nobody wanted. Yeah, it's just he was done wrong by Houston, and then teams just get scared off. And it took a seriously desperate team. Like we shouldn't call the Blazers, some virtuous, like, oh yeah, well, we just respect Carmelo so much. They were forced into this. A week ago they weren't doing it. And now they have to because he's the best available option. So it's perfect timing for everyone around, and there's no guarantees. And hopefully, I would love to see Portland in the playoffs. So hopefully, Melo does an adequate job at least. I would be shocked if he didn't do that.
Yeah. Okay, Natty, let me give you a couple names of guys. These are all guys in the top 100 on ESPN Player Rating. And I want to see just kind of where you are feeling like Melo could be, because these are all guys who are available in most leagues. And I just want to, like, off the top of the head, no preparation, what is your vibe and thoughts for Melo going forward? So we'll start fan favorite of the podcast, PJ Washington, 53 on ESPN Player Rating, 32% owned. Who would you rather have? Who would you rather be getting if you have an open roster spot, PJ
You're
or Melo?
asshole.
I know. I've got two more for you.
That's such a rotten bastard thing to do, Pete. I would go with PJ Washington for this reason.
Okay.
I think his volume is greater than Carmelo's. Like PJ Washington is going to get minutes and shots on his team, and he doesn't really need to defer,
Right.
like he looks like he's one of the cornerstones of the future of that franchise. He looks great. I love him.
Yeah, he does look really good. And we'll talk about him more later in the pod. Just a little spoiler alert.
Oh, nice. And Melo, while I think he'll get his shots, like gun to my head, I'm going with the fucking rookie who looks fantastic over the 36-year-old.
A bold
What do you
move.
think?
Oh, I agree with you. I agree with you on that one. I think PJ Washington has shown too much already, and he's a young player on a young team that's going to just keep force feeding minutes and touches and play time to him. And so while I do love Melo, and of course is on my team, and PJ Washington is not on my team, I just had to get Melo because you got to do it. I think if you're actually being a smart fantasy owner, PJ Washington is the move. What is your feeling about Glenn Robinson III, who's 98 in ESPN player rater and is 10% owned in ESPN leagues?
I would rather have Carmelo, but all of that is belief. It's all just total bias. And if you're paying attention, Glenn Robinson III is also getting volume. There's nobody on
There's no one
the
else
Warriors right now. So for that reason, why am I choosing Melo over him when I just chose another young player because of volume over Carmelo? I think Carmelo is just a better player, and I think that he'll, be scoring 15 to 17 points sort of at least. And GR3 doesn't score that much.
Mm-hmm.
So all things being equal, like I think Melo, is he going to be 80% owned in a week? He could be. Sure. Why not?
Yeah.
And GR3, like there's so much misery in Dubstown, and it's really hard to believe in any of these guys because everybody knows like the Warriors haven't been getting high draft picks, like these are the young players that have been available to them. Everyone's cheap because they were discards. So, I'll go with Carmelo over GR3, but I love him. I love Glenn Robinson.
No, I agree. And I agree with your thought process there too. I think that if you're looking at a player on the Warriors who is the must own outside of obviously D'Angelo Russell, I still think it's Eric Paschall and Draymond. I still think it's Eric Paschall. But I like everything you said, and we're honing in exactly where we think. Basically, this is an exercise to see where we think right now, as Melo is stepping on the court for the first time in the NBA season, where he's going to fall into the ESPN player rater. We've decided that he is not a top 50 player because we would take PJ Washington over him. We would decided that he is a top 100 player because we would take him over Glenn Robinson. So the question is, in the middle, who'd you rather have, Natty? Zubac, who is 73 ESPN, 14% owned, or Melo?
Fuck Ivica Zubac. I'm sorry. Like, that's ridiculous. I couldn't care less. I mean, centers are fungible to me.
I agree with that.
And if Melo catches fire, and just Melo can have Melo games. Like, what if he's just sort of the same dude as 2 years ago?
What if?
Like, there's a possibility he could have a 40-point game. There's no possibility that Ivica Zubac could have a 40-point game. So that's a difference for me.
Yep. Yeah. There's no good players right in that middle in the low 60s or the high 60s, I guess, to mid to high 70s that I figured were a good comparison other than Zubac, because everyone else is like pretty solid and not of the same position. I was trying to keep it the same position too.
Wait, what's RJ Barrett averaging? Because if it's like 19 and 8, that's okay. It's not. So it's 15 and 5.
Yeah.
Yo, I feel like Carmelo could do that no problem. That's incredible. Oh my
Oh, we are
god.
talking ourselves fully into Melo here.
Also, when do the Blazers visit New York? Wow, all of this is so great. I'm so glad he's back. Fuck yes,
I'm
Melo.
so happy he's back. It's in sports in general, right? Sports, you always want something to root for. You want a person to root for, a team to root for. And that's why like the early Warriors team, everyone fucking loved because it was Steph and Clay and Draymond, and they were like all of these homegrown talents, and they were just thriving with Kerr. And you're like, yes, this is a team I can get behind. And then of course they added Durant, and I'm not one of these people who is like, oh, the Warriors are dead to me, but you know, it became a little bit less fun to root for them. Uh, Carmelo Anthony back in the league is just someone to root for, someone to enjoy, someone when I'm sitting around being like, what do I want to do tonight? What do I want to watch on League Pass? I'm now going to throw on the Trailblazers more than most teams because I'm like, fuck it, I want to watch Melo play basketball.
Every single crowd is going to cheer him when they're on the road. Like everybody loves Melo now because he was done dirty and we all saw it. And like he's obviously a capable NBA player. Um, I think maybe that's the difference to the owners in the NFL is that maybe Cap wouldn't get cheered. Like if he got booed, that would look really, really, really bad.
I mean, he should get cheered, but yeah, we're talking about a different fan
Yeah,
base here.
right. And you know, things have changed, but I mean that could be not a legitimate concern because fuck that. Like
Yeah,
just give him a fucking job and let him play football. Because how cool would it be if Colin Kaepernick was playing football?
it would be
Uh,
amazing.
it would be incredible. Every single one of his games would have a fucking mountain high
Oh
rating.
God, yeah. How could you? So your Carolina Panthers. Kyle Allen just threw 4 interceptions, looked like hot garbage. Cam Newton isn't coming back and playing this season, most likely. You have a new owner who wants to make a statement about the direction he's taking this team. Who says no? Why are you not doing this, Carolina? Go get him. You know he'd fit perfectly into this offense. He looked great in his workout. And I know we're talking football and a basketball show, but we
Yeah,
got
Phil Rivers
this.
just threw 4 picks, didn't
We
he?
got now that's a hot take. We got Carmelo Anthony back in the NBA. We're now going to get Colin Kaepernick back in the NFL.
Sure, it would be great. I mean, it would be the single best story that the NFL has had in years. So
It would be.
they should do it.
Yeah, 100%. Any other thoughts that you would like to put out there about Melo before we move on?
He just looks so fucking good in
He
that
does.
uniform, man. Like
It
that's
does
just
look.
Portland has sick unis anyway.
I think
Love
that
the
can't be
Blazers.
overstated
God,
either. Is that he does just it fits
it
him,
looks
and the double
good.
zero fits him. I love it. I love this
My
James
God, he's
Bond
an
thing. Have you seen
uncountable
this?
number.
Everyone's starting to tweet hashtag 007 about him, which I am
Oh, that's
here
cool.
for. Even though you can't hashtag numbers, so I mean, let's get with the times, people. But and I'm talking to you, Twitter. Let's be able to hashtag numbers, Twitter.
Why
But
can't you hashtag numbers?
I don't know, man, because Twitter's stupid.
Oh, okay.
But this is
Seems
gorgeous.
weird.
Carmelo Anthony has 7 points in 12 minutes.
Dude, like I don't even care what he looks like in his first game in a fucking calendar year. Like this is just great.
He's also, do you know what his plus minus is?
What is it?
It's minus 11.
So what? Like
So
so
what? Who
what?
cares? Who
Yeah.
cares? Just let Melo be Melo and we're happy with it.
Dude, they're completely fucked. They needed somebody.
Oh, yeah. No, God. And the thing is also, it's not like you could have done so much worse than Melo. Melo is going to help this
Agreed.
team. Melo is not just going to fill in the empty roster spot. Melo is going to be an improvement of the league average.
Dude, and if he sucks, then all the haters get to dance on his grave, and we were all wrong to believe and to like this guy who was one of the best stars of his generation and had some of the most incredible scoring games we've ever seen. And yeah, fuck us. We were
Yeah.
so stupid and wrong. Yeah.
If he does suck, and the GD, what's the Gen Z? Is that the current gen?
No, I don't believe in that branding bullshit. Like,
well,
that's
all the
ridiculous.
young people out there who, anytime Melo does anything bad, they're like, "Oh my God, Carmelo Anthony overrated." Go back and just put on his Nuggets highlights. And you tell me if that motherfucker's overrated.
I didn't know that the kids hated on Melo. Why did they hate on Melo?
I don't know, because kids are stupid, man. Kids are dumb.
He's been done wrong in his career.
Granted,
he shouldn't have
he's-
forced himself from the Nuggets.
Right.
But
He started off doing things wrong, and then from that point onwards, got done wrong.
yeah, but he's a player who at his apex was in the same conversation as LeBron and
Hell
D-Wade.
yeah.
And, he's one of the best natural scorers that I've ever seen in my whole life.
I remember playing NBA Live 2005. Melo was on the cover, and he was a goddamn cheat code. It was gorgeous.
Yeah, he's just absolutely sick. He just didn't evolve his game.
Yeah.
And that's something that you need to do in any sport and really in anything in order to keep improving and to stay current with the times. Like, defense aside, he should have leaned into the outside game more.
Yeah. All right. Before we go on, we are going to take a quick ad break. All right. So clearly Melo returning to the NBA is the best thing that's happened, in this month, in this season. But personally, what have you
Blake
loved?
came back. How dare you?
Well, there you go. What have you loved so far this NBA year? We're about a month into it. Give me one or two highlights for you of things that you've found yourself really loving about this season so far.
Okay, so my favorite thing of the NBA season so far is that the Chicago Bulls are fucking ass. They are so bad, and it's so awesome. Fuck them. Go Pistons.
When I
they're
sent my
garbage.
when I sent
they're
my ideas for the podcast to you, I should have been like, hey, let's keep these not personal. Even though one of mine is personal, so I guess I can't speak either.
I mean, I have a real favorite thing as well. We always have two things for everything, just in case one of us steals the other.
Well, and one of them tends to be. I mean, one of mine is spoiler alert, Celtics related, and the other one is not.
No,
so you always got one thing that's fan favorite, and one thing that's the doctor putting on the spectacles.
But listeners to this podcast might be a little surprised because I do like the individual players on the Bulls. And before the season started, I thought that they were an absolutely solid team, and I was almost certain they'd make the playoffs. So I'm really happy as a Pistons fan that they look totally fucking rotten. But I am a little bit surprised. I mean, I guess Jim Boylan isn't this genius coach that people were whispering about before the season. But let's have some stats here. They have a worse point differential than the Cavaliers. They score less than the Pacers. And they have the third worst true shooting percentage in the NBA. Only Orlando and the Knicks are worse. They suck, man.
You never want to be below the Knicks in anything.
I think they've lost to the Knicks. Like, they're absolutely fucking hot trash, and it's awesome. It's so great because they were a direct competitor to Detroit, and now that's one less team I have to worry about. Having said that, you have enough talent on this team that you shouldn't be this shitty. So this is a serious problem for Chicago. Yeah. I mean, Otto Porter's hurt right now, I believe.
But is he really the reason why this team sucks? No.
No, Lauri Markkanen doesn't look good.
Not doing anything.
He doesn't. He is okay. Well, he's one of my duds. He's maybe my dud, and it's for this reason. On the season, he's shooting 36% from the floor and 26% from three. This is his third year, so take career for what it's worth. But the previous two seasons he's shot 43% from the floor and 36% from three. I think he's injured.
Yeah. Well, he was dealing with it all last year. He's been dealing with injuries for most of his career now since coming into the league.
Like, the team just doesn't look good at all. Kobe White is taking maybe way too many shots. And while there's individual good fantasy players on this team, I'm really kind of surprised. I thought Chicago would be better than this.
Yeah. No, I did too. And they have not been.
And it's great. I love it.
And we're loving it. I have to, since we're doing loves, I have to give some love to my Celtics, and I already alluded to this.
Do it, dude.
But
Yeah.
hey, they've got the best record in the NBA, best offense, top 10 defense. Kemba Walker has stepped in beautifully at point guard and is showing those flat earthers out there that, yes, you dumbass, the globe is round as shit. Jaylen Brown got the
As
bag
shit.
and is
So
now
round.
is now casually averaging 19 a game. Jason Tatum goes 1 for 18 and then hits the gym and averages 21 across his next 4 games. Marcus Smart is going to win Defensive Player of the Year and the three-point shooting contest. Grant Williams and Carson Edwards are making all the other 29 teams regret letting them fall in the draft. Taco Fall's dunking on middle schoolers in G League. Time Lord is swatting around the living shit out of every ball that comes, has the audacity to whisper by the rim, all while Gordon Hayward nerds out on his Xbox, getting healthier, channeling 2016 Utah Hayward, and most importantly, getting closer to the daughters he's so damn thrilled to have. This is the best version of the Celtics, a team of guys who know and thrive in their roles with Brad Stevens' capable hands expertly maneuvering the joysticks.
Wow. That was incredible.
Thank you. I am very excited for this team. This team is fun to watch again, and I am here for it.
Oh, damn. What a fucking burn. Jesus Christ.
Last year was
it's now worth watching.
It is now worth watching this team.
I get it.
It was not during the
they play
chaos.
happy now.
Right.
Like
they play fun. They play like
they're happy to show up to work.
This team, yes. This team cares. Everyone on this team loves each other and will play for each other. And that, I mean, God, by the end of last year, that was not at all true.
I will say this. I love Marcus Smart. You know that. Everyone who's ever listened to any podcast that we've done knows that. You can't let him take the last shot in that game.
No.
That has to go to Tatum. It absolutely, or Kemba. Kemba was tied up, but you can't let Marcus Smart do that.
I mean, there's nothing better than the Marcus
the
Smart
play collapsed and whatever,
floater.
and it almost went in. But the point isn't that it almost went in. Even if it had gone in, he should not be the guy that's taking the last shot in the game in that position. You have to be able to either have Tatum get a foul or, that. So I don't think we're ever going to see that again.
No, but that's totally fine to have that happen now in early mid-November. And then they are like, okay, we're going to start crafting plays to make sure that the ball does get to Tatum, Kemba, or even Jaylen. Jaylen, man, has been fucking killing it this year.
Yeah. And not hating on Smart. It's just that he's not the closer. Good basketball teams know who their closers are. Right. They know where to get the ball to. Yeah. And that's the
Marcus
sign
Smart
of
will close it for you on the defensive end, and then you get the ball out of his hands on the offensive end.
And plays collapse and shit happens. Absolutely. Yeah. It's just, that's a game you could have won. All you needed was one bucket. So that hurts, but it probably won't happen again. So that's fine. Yeah, I love Boston too. I think that they're a really dangerous team. I kind of wonder though, what are you going to do against Giannis in a 7-game series?
Oh, we'll just put Marcus on him.
Yeah, I guess so. Right. Totally.
I mean, what position can't Marcus guard?
It's true. He guards centers sometimes, which is fucking awesome.
It's insane. I love it.
Fantastic.
No, you're right. I mean, I think, but that's going to come down to Brad he was able to do it with Baines, and they created the wall with Horford to slow him down. And obviously, you're not going to be able to do that because you don't have Baines or Horford anymore. And Cantor, hate to break it to you, not going to be creating a wall there. But I think there's plenty of time for them to figure that out and to kind of solidify it and hope, and also, maybe hope for a little luck, and let's have the Bucks get knocked out before we have to play them in the playoffs.
You're going to play either the Bucks or the Sixers, and both of their, tallest dudes are. Oh, well, I guess Giannis isn't the tallest, but Embiid can hurt you too. You guys need to trade for a center. You just have to.
Or Time Lord just needs to take jump 13 flights of stairs and suddenly become the best center in the NBA.
Who would you want? Valanciunas or Vucevic?
See, I think the guy who the Celtics have always had their eyes on, and by always I mean the last year and a half, is Clint Capella. I think
why would Houston do that?
Because if the Rockets just fall apart, if this
Oh,
experiment is not going
I
to work,
see.
then the Celtics,
Right.
then Danny Ainge is just going to be like, all right, here's whatever you want. We're taking Clint from you.
Okay, if one of the 6 best teams in the whole league, like everyone
Hey, man,
dies
all it
except
ta-
Clint Capella, then they'll maybe trade him to you.
Yeah, we should quickly touch on the fact that James Harden is averaging 39 points per game.
Yeah, we should.
Somehow this guy got better.
Mm,
How is
I
that
mean,
possible?
I don't know if he's better. He might just be doing the things that he's good at even more. I think MJ averaged 37 points per game when he scored 3,000 in a season. Harden can do that, and if he does that, he should win the MVP. And um, I don't think that the Bulls were good the year that MJ did that, but it's such an incredible achievement that it would be historical. You know, no one's scored 3,000 since MJ, and barely anyone had done it. It might just be Wilt, actually, before that. So Harden could be having one of the best seasons ever. It doesn't really seem like Westbrook being there hurts them too much.
No, clearly.
So I always have this problem with the Rockets where I just like really don't believe in them because I think that
I think
their
it's safe to not
defense
believe.
is really suspect
Right.
in
I
the
think it's not.
playoffs.
Yeah. I think it's safe to not believe in them as like a title contender. But I think in the regular season, it is safe to believe that James Harden and Russell Westbrook and this offense can continue to be one of the best in the league.
Harden's going to be the number 1 player in fantasy. No
No
problem.
questions asked. The
Yeah.
guy is shooting more, and all of his percentages are lower than his career averages.
Oh, yeah. Like everyone is like, why are you shooting so many threes when you're not hitting them? He's like, no. When I start hitting them,
It's going to be terrifying.
right. Like he might average over 40 a game. By the way, the second most points per game by Giannis is 9 points lower than Harden. Giannis is
That's
averaging 30 and Harden is averaging 39. So that's cool.
just that's cool.
Oh, well, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
In a 7-game series between the Bucks and the Rockets, who would you take?
I'd still take the Bucks.
Interesting. Because no one on the Rockets can guard Giannis.
Because no one on the Rockets can guard Giannis. And we've seen it the last 3 playoffs for the Rockets, where when you live and die by the 3 and the 3's not there, you can't do anything. And for the Bucks, if the 3's not there, it's like, great, we'll just give it to Giannis. Honestly, it's Giannis, do your thing. And then when you're getting triple team, kick it out and the 3 will always be there. And I just have the utmost faith that if you are playing in a series of 7, right? This is, I know Bill Simmons says this all the time, but I think this is a pretty classic way to look at a NBA game of 7 series. It's best player. Who has the best player, and that team is most likely to win. And
sure,
the best player of there is Giannis.
I think that Harden could win in that series, and I think that they could win in the playoffs if they focused more on getting to the charity stripe than they did on 3s. I think that Westbrook and Harden can both get to the line pretty fucking easily.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what they should focus on because, Westbrook can't shoot from the line. His whole rhythm was screwed up when they changed the rules a couple of years ago. But they have to focus on not depending on 3s.
Right.
Like if you want to play the analytics game, that's great. But that means like shots from 3 feet away from the basket and shots from, 30 feet away from the bat. Well, it's you really can't just be 3-point dependent. It's not going to work.
Right. No, exactly. And that's what's thwarted them in the past. And maybe they'll learn. Maybe this team will be constructed a little bit differently, or the offense will have a little more focus on that intermediate game and getting to the rim, which would be great for them in terms of actually making a push. I mean, you're seeing it a little bit from Harden. Westbrook, not so much, but Harden is currently averaging a career high in free throw attempts. He's got 14.5 per game, which is just ridiculous.
88% from the line.
The
That's what
guy,
you want.
he is shooting 14 threes and 14 free throws a game. What is this? Oh my God, he's so damn good.
This is another thing that is one of my favorites of the NBA season is that you can see several different teams trying out different strategies to try to hack the league.
Yeah.
People are using analytics in different ways. One of the Rockets' main competitors, the Lakers, is going another way in terms of efficiency. They are a top 5 team in every stat category in terms of dunks or shooting close to the rim. And it's because those are the most efficient shots to take. Those will always give you the most points per possession. So the Lakers are like tops in dunks. Like 3 of the top 10 players in dunks are on the Lakers. They're not driving, which is weird, and they can't shoot from outside very well. But what they can do is use their height and like bully you inside, and it's just dunk after dunk after dunk after dunk. And LeBron just like orchestrating this whole crazy, weird anti-Warriors, like big
Well, it
and
makes sense when you've
slow
got
and
him and
interior.
Anthony Davis and Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee. Like, you got a bunch of bigs there and the only 3-point shooter they got is Danny Green.
Yeah, he's literally the only guy that can shoot from outside on that team, which is a serious problem. But for the regular season, this is a nice little hack because everybody is taller and they don't give a shit about spacing unless it means that like some guy like can't post up or like jump for an alley-oop. Like you need a smaller amount of space if you know that you have the height advantage and can just jump over dudes. So Anthony Davis is dunking like twice as much as he did last year or something crazy. Like and LeBron's averaging what, 11 assists per game?
Yeah. Oh,
And they're
LeBron's
not
like
shooting
becoming
from
magic.
outside.
Yeah.
Like all of these assists are assists that occur like within the 3-point line. So all of this is really funny. But you can see that it is beneficial to the Lakers because they're so tall. So they don't have to run as much and they don't have to drive to the rim, which beats you up. They're shitty at free throws, but like whatever. So for the regular season, it's great. For the playoffs, maybe not so much. But they're using numbers in a different way than the Rockets use them, and in a different way than the Warriors did, and I guess in a different way than the Chicago Bulls do.
You can't help yourself.
Thank you very much.
I love it. Should we do studs and duds?
Sure, let's go.
Boom. For those who are new to the show, we do this every week. We give a player who's set to have a great rest of the week, a stud. Player who's going to struggle, a dud. And then we like to spice it up and sometimes add a player who we want to keep watching play, a bud. So congrats to Natty last week for getting in the win column. Marcus Smart having a good conclusion of the week for you.
Welcome aboard. We are not sinking. We can actually float a little bit.
We can do this.
And then Smart got injured.
And then Smart got injured. So, well, luckily he got you. He got you the win, and then knew that he could retire. And then he was done.
Yeah.
His services were no longer needed.
God, please don't be hurt. Please don't be hurt.
That would crush me. So Natty's rocking the 1-3 record, and yours truly 2-2, 50%, still killing it like a champion that I am.
Nice job.
Natty, who's your stud for this week?
Okay, so you put out the forecaster for the week every Monday, which is a very valuable resource. Everyone should check it out. And so I am going to quiz you on your knowledge of the forecaster that you did.
Okay.
My stud for the week, and I hope you don't have the same guy, plays the next 3 games against the Cavaliers, the Bulls, and the Sixers. Do you know who my stud is?
Cavaliers, Bulls, and Sixers. I I don't know who the player is, but that's the Heat, right?
It sure is.
Okay.
Who
And
plays on the Heat?
who plays on? I mean, Jimmy Buckets, presumably.
You're goddamn right.
Is that your boy?
He's playing the Bulls and the Sixers over the next 3 games.
Oh, Jimmy Buckets is
You
about
better
to go for
fucking
like
believe
50 a
he's up
game.
for those games. Are you kidding me? He's going to score all the points.
Oh
Every
my
single
God,
last one. And he's
such
going
a
to
good point.
have like 97 different assists in each game. God damn. He's looked.
He's looked great.
Ugh.
He's looked great. You are making a very good point here. If there's anyone in this NBA league who is going to just want to absolutely eviscerate any teams,
I mean, who cares about the Cavs? But they're also bad. Like, there's this is a chance to really fucking announce yourself nationally and just have like 3 30-point games in a row. And I think the Heat will beat Philadelphia. And I think
doubt
that just because of Jimmy Butler.
Jimmy Butler's going to just take it upon himself to destroy.
Yeah, fuck that team hard with a hammer. Like, there's a case to be made that the Eastern Conference this season is not about Giannis, it's about Jimmy Butler. Is he as
Hey man,
good
we've been saying
as
it
he
all
says?
offseason.
Totally. Right. So, like, I mean, I guarantee you that they have a top 4 seed in the East because they will win their division. But what if they're the 2 seed? You know? Like, I still think Milwaukee or Philadelphia will have the overall number 1 seed. But after that, man, I don't know. The Heat look good. They look strange, but they look good.
They do look good. They do look good. And Jimmy Buckets is. I'm loving this now. This is a great rest of the week to track.
Like, I don't even care about the numbers. I just looked at the Heat schedule
needed.
And was like, oh, wait a second.
Oh, wait, he's playing 2 of his old teams? All you needed was the Timberwolves on there.
Yeah.
Fine.
Oh, man. Who's your stud?
My stud is one of my favorite players in the NBA. I have to give him some love because he's been playing pretty well so far this year, and so love to see him succeed. It's Isaiah Thomas starting for the Wizards over the last 6 games, averaging 11.8 and 5.3 assists. And he's got a great three great matchups this week. He's playing the Spurs, who are allowing the 7th most points to point guards, Hornets, who are allowing the 7th most assists, and the Kings, who are allowing 11th most points. I think he's just going to get you good, solid production rest of the week.
Right on. That's great.
Yeah. Plus,
they have the number 1 offense, the Washington Wizards.
Which is preposterous.
It's fucking ridiculous. But, like, if they keep it going, Jesus.
Who says no?
I mean, they'll trade IT in a heartbeat, which will.
God,
where could he end up?
I hope
Jesus.
IT finds a team that doesn't. I mean, I know every piece, unless you're like an absolute superstar, every player is tradable, but it'd be nice for him to, I don't know, not get shipped around a lot. And I know we started it, and I apologize.
Agree. Yeah. Can I do one more stud?
I mean, yeah, it's not
it won't be my
record.
Official stud, but
Okay,
just to do. Yeah, exactly. So this is just sort of an opportunity play. The Brooklyn Nets, Kyrie has been out with a shoulder, and Karis LeVert is out for a while. In their stead, Spencer Dinwiddie has been starting. He shot 21 times in their last game. This is just a dude, like, their next 3 games, the Nets, are the Hornets, the Kings, and the Knicks.
Oh, yes, please.
If Kyrie's out, then I don't see why Spencer Dinwiddie couldn't have a fucking great old time over the next couple of games. Because 21 times in a game is that's healthy eating. That's pretty nice.
Lot of buckets. Yeah, I like that call a lot. Who's your dud for the week?
Okay, so I said this earlier. I just think the finisher, Lauri Markkanen, looks bad / injured / something else is going on. I don't like. He plays he plays Detroit, Miami, and Charlotte. Miami's going to be tough. Detroit could be tough.
Blake's back. He plays defense occasionally.
Yeah. I mean, I love that Blake's back. I don't want them to play him too much. although playing Lauri Markkanen might not be that difficult right now. And then the Bulls play Charlotte, who they have a bunch of front court players that can, not capably guard him, but if he's being shitty, then who cares? Another player that might not have a great week, Aaron Gordon and the Magic are playing the Raptors and the Pacers. Those are bad matchups for Aaron Gordon. That's Pascal Siakam and, Domantas Sabonis. So I would stay away from those players over the next couple of games.
You're really testing or at least my record with picking European big men as duds. I can tell you, I am 0 for 2 doing that.
Yeah, sure. But that's only because you haven't chosen Lauri Markkanen yet.
It's fair. It's fair. I haven't picked the right one.
God, watch him score 40, which would be great because I want him to be good. Like, I really don't want him to be injured. I don't want the team to just be sort of fucked up more than anything.
No,
I do like these players.
You want your number one rival to be good so that when you beat them and when they like lose heartbreaking games, you're like, yes, you deserve this.
Rival is adorable. They're not our rival. We don't have rivals. We're the Detroit fucking Pistons. Thank you very much.
Sorry. Speaking of which, all right, let me quickly give my dud, and then we have something to celebrate after that. My dud for the week, I hate myself for picking this, but Jason Tatum, I just know that Kawhi is sitting out resting for this game Wednesday against the Celtics. He's going to come back fully healthy and just like take it to Tatum. I just know this in my bones of bones. And if not, even if he doesn't, because my phone while we were doing this just beeped and was like, Kawhi's questionable. PG-13 has been playing out of his goddamn mind to start.
Oh yeah.
And so I think that the Clippers have been shutting down small forwards. And then he goes up against Will Barton and the Nuggets, who've been holding small forwards to 17 points per game this season, which is
interesting.
Tops of the league. So, and we only saw one poor outing from Tatum, but I still think that I wouldn't be surprised if he, it's not going to be crushing and terrible, but like maybe he is fluctuating between like 12 and 14 points during those games as opposed to the 20 that he's been averaging.
I was thinking about Tatum a couple of days ago and why people seem to vary in their opinions of him from day to day. And I think it's because people treat him like he's a lot older than he is.
Yeah.
I think people think he's like 27 and he's 21.
Which is
like
fucking absurd.
He just sort of looks as a player like someone who's been around for a while.
Right.
Strangely, even though he'll make really stupid decisions.
But like that's what his calling card was coming into the league, was that like he had a very refined offensive game and could just like plug and play, didn't really need to work on anything. And so with that kind of play style, everyone's like, oh yeah, this guy's been in the league for a while. Like, you've got 4 or 5 or 6 years under your belt, and you're in your mid 20s, and you've got everything. Like the fact that he is just touched 20 years old, his early 20s, and you're like, what? He's got so much time, and that should allow him to have a much longer rope and leash when you're coming with expectations for him.
And after the playoffs 2 years ago, we all just sort of christened him as like, oh, cool, you're a down ballot MVP in your future, and you'll be at the very least second team All NBA. And the Celtics will win 60 plus games and you guys are unstoppable. Yeah. That didn't happen because that's a weird thing to say to a fucking 19-year-old. Like, hey man, you're the future of the NBA and you're going to do well. We're like, okay. By the way, here's another guy who felt that way, and then LeBron stomped on his career.
Mm-hmm. And then he stomped on
and elevated it. I shouldn't say stopped. Like, Kyrie will never have as good a chance to win as he had with LeBron. Who's your bud? Do you have a bud this week?
I don't have a bud this week. Nah. I just have studs and duds. Do you have a bud?
I do have a bud. A guy that I love, but who has not played well at all.
Hit me.
Mike Conley is shooting 36% from the floor. He's averaging 4 assists per game, 14 points per game. He's shooting 32% from 3. Over the next couple of days, he plays the Timberwolves, the Warriors, and the Pelicans. Those are winnable games. They also present opportunities for him to do well. I'm really hoping that he does. And if he doesn't, I think that's very concerning, especially against the Warriors. I feel like the Jazz should be treating the Warriors game as like we do this. Like Mike Conley's going to score 30 points.
Right.
Like just feed it to him. Like we're not going to lose to this game. They to this team. They better fucking not. So like let's get him going. And if he doesn't, then I don't really know what to say because he doesn't look good.
No, he really doesn't. Natty,
Yes,
as
sir.
a Pistons fan, we have to celebrate it because today is its 15th birthday. You know what happened 15 years ago?
Is this the Malice?
The Malice in the Palace. And so I have to ask you, because we asked this question on Twitter, to celebrate Malice in the Palace, Natty, which of these three players, those who partook in this epic, the greatest sports fight you will ever witness on live television, who would you least want to get in a fight with? Ron Artest, Ben Wallace, Jermaine O'Neal.
Ron Artest.
Interesting. I feel like
What's
Ben
your
Wallace
answer?
is the clear answer.
Oh, are you fucking kidding me? Big Bet. Wait. Did I hear that? Who's the least you want to fight?
Who would you least want to fight?
Oh, sorry, it's Big Ben. I was like,
yes.
who out of them would you fight the best? I guess. Like,
Okay.
no, Big Ben is the last person you want to fight in the whole world.
The last person you want to fight is Ben Wallace. Ben Wallace.
He guarded Shaq.
You.
He's like 5 inches shorter than Shaq. He's incredible. He's absolutely amazing. He's one of the best Pistons ever.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it sucks he played for Chicago.
Won't blink an eye. He won't blink an eye about it. He'll
like
just rip your spine out.
Jermaine O'Neal's a tough dude, but and so whatever. But don't ever go at Big Ben Wallace. No. Don't ever do that.
No, you did. Unless you want your head ripped off your body, you don't go at Big Ben.
I mean, he's one of the best defensive players who's ever lived.
And had one of the best afros who ever lived.
Dude, in his jump shot, it always looks so painful, but it was always so sort of nice because it was like, yo, well, you're wide open and you play basketball, and I've seen you make them before.
But God damn it, I can't help but get terribly scared by this.
It just took longer than it should have, but oh man, you were just like, yes, no, shoot it, try. I miss those.
I think we had to celebrate probably one.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I remember where I was and what I was doing.
Really?
That day. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh, story time.
Okay. I was strangely in Florida on business. Like for work.
Sure.
And I didn't get to watch the game live. And, I had some rinky dinky ass cell phone and I had it turned off. And so as soon as I was done with what I was doing, I turned it on and, like my brother and everybody from back home in Michigan has been like calling like, what the fuck? Why are you answering the phone? Are you seeing this? And I had no idea what the hell was going on. And so I get back to my hotel room and I start calling people and I speak to my brother and he's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? How do you not know? Everyone in the whole world knows what happened. And so I missed the game. I instantly called around to find out like where there was a bar or something and nothing was open. So I just waited up until 2 a.m. when ESPN would re-air it. And I watched it the second time, and it was amazing.
And it was incredible.
And I had just been watching highlights, before then. So it was like, oh, I actually get to watch the game and see why the fuck this happened. That's weird. It's still incredible. I mean,
it's one of the most. It is one of the most absurd things to ever happen in sports.
Dude, and Rick Carlisle was like the coach of the Pacers and the Pistons. Like the whole thing is really strange.
It's amazing. If you are one of those youths who think that Carmelo Anthony is bad at basketball and you don't know what we're talking about, go watch Malice in the Palace.
Can I mention a couple of other players that are fantasy worthy mentions?
Of course.
Before we go.
Yeah.
And especially since the Blazers are playing them right now. So the Pelicans, everybody on the team has been hurt and has missed games, really, except for JJ Redick and Drew Holiday recently. Since November 9th, JJ Redick is averaging 22 points per game, 5+ 3-pointers made, 10+ 3-point attempts, and he's 50% from 3. Drew Holiday is 20+ points per game, 5+ rebounds, 8+ assists, and he almost had a triple-double, granted against the Warriors. Both of them are shooting great from the line. Everybody else seems to be missing games on this team, and they're stepping up. If either of those guys is available in your league, I would go pick them up pretty fucking hard, because it looks like they're the old vets who know how to play through the grind of an NBA season, while all the other young dudes are like having to sit out some games. Also, Brook Lopez has had 5 blocks in each of the past 2 games, and he's number 32 on the player rater for the season. Just wanted to mention it.
Just letting you know.
Yeah. In case you like players like that.
In case, those guys could do something for your fantasy basketball team.
Just
Awesome.
saying.
Well, there you go. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast. We are everywhere you could get podcasts: iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, the Fake Teams podcast channels where you'll find us. Make sure to subscribe and leave a review. Give us 5 stars because you love us. And follow us on Twitter at The Long Two Podcast. We will be back at you next week. Until then, Natty, have yourself a good week.
Hello. Absolutely.
Hello.
Dude, nationally televised game on Thursday, too. This is great.
Let's
Welcome
fucking
back,
go.
man. Right on. Have a good week, dude.